Yo. Man, Friday is news days now, huh? I think I'm here for it. I think I like it. Oh, alright, we gotta work it out for us. I have not looked at Ray pretty much at all. I saw like 2 screenshot sentences. Man, they really need to get the soundtrack on Spotify so it could actually like work with playlists. Okay. I'm going in blind. First Order Sith Attacker. Now, First Order, I mean, you have Hux, you have Officer, but traditionally I tend to think of them as very attacker tank heavy. And if we're talking like Dark Side Basilas, usually it was like a support theme for the person they're going after. But CG has been on a very well, they like supporters that can attack, and they like attackers that can support. So I'm really not that surprised to see this sort of direction here. It's very in keeping with CG's recent theme and interests. Let's see. Long way to conquest lifter can attack multiple times with their basic and inflict fear on her turn. GAC Omicrons can prevent first order allies from being defeated until Ray becomes targetable. This is actually very akin to Luthen. Now, Luthen's playing with that rule for himself, which is also thematic with the character. Gonna be very interested to see how this actually plays within the rules, because it's a potent effect, right? Luthen can be a very annoying character to actually go for. Now, this is specifically prevent from being defeated rather than prevent from being targeted. So, still potentially in a situation where you could just knock them down to 1. Right? I guess flavor-wise, it's more like Ben Solo. You knock them down to 1, you satisfy the condition, you pop them. But can still give you leverage. Especially for the scene, of course. They more sense to use lightning here, of course. Muslim lineage connection. Heritage, of course. Yeah, I'll just read the kit. Actually, I do want to see this. Interesting character to work on in a lot of ways. Use the blank slate. So there's 2 types of characters that I think tend to be interesting for Galaxy Heroes. One is like, I have jokingly but have seriously talked about Chimera a lot, because Chimera is an example of a character where there's just enough going on with the character in the show that I think it would be fun to try to port into the Galaxy of Heroes rule set. But then there's the flip side where I think characters that are like pretty much blank slates are also kind of tend to be interesting because they give CG room to cook. So, I mean, there's like some stuff, but yeah, this is more a question of like, what do you want to see in Galaxy Heroes more so than trying to pay homage. Yeah, let's see where we land. 2 specials, cooldown of 4. To CG cook. You know more than I do, man. I'm blind here. I give the bits. Ray has a bonus crit chance and crit damage. She's also mastery attacker, so depending on what she is, if she's a strength attacker, this is actually pretty meaningful. If she's agi attacker, less so. Trying to think. Is Ben Solo special? I forgot. I know his special is incredibly high. Basil is special. There's literally no relevance to Basil here. Yeah, special. The only relevance of Basil is goth hypothetical girlfriends slash right hand woman. Okay. Raise abilities can't be evaded. This clause exists on characters like Malicos and has been my absolute bane because there are times where I would like to scam. Now, granted, for SLK's matchup tables, it's a lot less relevant, but I mean, always worth noting, always happy to see that. The characters who don't have effects like this tend to be felt. But also, there's a slight question of what master she is, because if she's strength attacker, then there's claws. It's not doing nothing, like especially we see Ezra dodging a bunch right now, but it does less because you don't have to worry about 2% at least. Wall Ray has retaliate. She recovers protection at the end of turn equal to 1% she received. Okay, she has protection steal. That's cool. I'm actually, now that we have it, I'm actually a little bit shocked that it took this long. Yeah, makes sense. Well, Marin cheats it in, technically. Marin's not protection steal, but for how that faction works, it might as well be, dude. They do not struggle. And it's team-wide. This is only for Rey herself. Yeah. While Rey's Debo, she has plus 50% speed. You do not see percentage speed values very often. Does she have a self-debuff component, or is this purely reactive? If Rey defeats an enemy, excluding summoned units, I forget on ways to self-debuff. Like, Piet's the classico, but I don't think it's a part of First Order's typical design. Questions for later. If Rey defeats an enemy, excluding summoned units, all interesting clause, actually. I mean, so this affects like Mon Mothma and Amidala as of recent. If we're talking like high tier stuff. Interesting clause. Rey defeats an enemy, all allies defeated by that enemy are revived with 100% health. It's maybe kind of future proofing, I guess. All allies defeated. Oh, allies defeated by that enemy. God, what's that character from League? I have not played it so much since this time. At RSM. This is that beat, right? I'm not saying it only came from here. I played all sorts of games, but this dude has some sort of thing where, like, if he revenge kills, you get to rescue. Huh. That, I wonder if there's any sort of indicator for who it refers to. Or if you just kind of have to be mentally tracking. Not that it would, like, well, it could theoretically affect your decision making. If you have a single target and you're like, okay, this person's storing Crew's soul and this other person is storing Hux. I mean, if you have to hold it in your head, that's fine. I mean, it increases skill cap. Interesting. Where even was that clause? Yeah. Yeah, defeated by that enemy. Whatever an enemy without 100% turn meter. Wait. Also, the kill has to come from her? So there's a very weird thing happening here where she's going to have to fight other units with kills, and this might be tricky to line up. Ironically, effects like this clause, or where was it? The one mentioned at the top. Clauses that, like, you know, a savior that stops someone at 1 health would line them up, or like kind of BT1 with someone being low health with an expose and you kind of bank them for haywire. You kind of almost need to consider whether you should bank units for Rey to pick up later. Interesting. I mean, we're only like 3 sentences in, but we got decision making already, to be sure. Okay. Whatever an enemy without 100% turn meter gains bonus turn meter, reduce their max protection by 5% for the rest of the encounter and persist to defeat. Yeah, that's going to fucking hurt for some teams. Man, the thing that I'm having so much trouble with right now, actually, like, recontextualizing everything within SLK's usual matchups. Dude, it's been so long since I even thought about SLK and defense. Just like put me in the headspace, I guess. We should get through the kit first before they do this. But like, I mean, JML, right? You got Flux, you got lessons causing it. JMK no effect, but that's always been like absurdly overkill. Starkiller, you think of it, would be effective against Palpatine lead. JKR, you think of it, but I don't know that it would proc on swap. Also, is there counter synergy happening here where Hux is kind of stopping this? Because it's not tried to gain bonus turn meter, it's actually gained bonus turn meter. So that means that Hux's defenses have to be down. Unless there's a world where they think she's like replacing Hux, but I kind of doubt it. Okay, we really need to like keep moving. Okay, what is it to talk about? It's interesting. Let's come back to it. Spinning Galactic Legends of raid bosses. Okay, that's fair at least. So not like JML getting shredded. 10% if it was a bonus turn. Interesting. Also, like, the moment that I see it, I'm like, man, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't gotten that sooner. That makes a lot of sense. Versus the defeat. Yeah, we got that. GAC Omicron. All other first order allies would retaliate, recover protection at the end of turn equal to 100% of the damage they receive. So that's not her protection steal clause. It's just basically saying whatever you have retaliate, you're just in a crazy protection tank. I mean, I assume keeping retaliate is going to be a pain in the ass. It's more so just like, I mean, it's kind of like the new advantage, I guess. You know, when SLK came out, advantage was basically the original, yo, this squad is Caribbean, you can't touch us. And so this is kind of an update of that. Interesting. Okay. First order allies with advantage ignore taunt effects on their turn. That is nightmare fuel. I mean, that screams you want to keep Hawks. Now, SLK targeting isn't always ideal. He does have some forced effect. But okay. Deli leads on SLK whenever he enters aggressive stance. I'm assuming that is his ult. The cooldown of malevolent lineage is reset. Got it. In our nature, if all allies are first order, she gains 100 health. At the start of this encounter, the ally in the leader slot is any version of high-low circular flexibility. Ray is untargetable until all enemies have taken a turn or are defeated. Is she just gonna like get the team retaliate while she's alive? I'm cheating. It appears to be on an ability. Just kidding. And it's dispellable. Okay. Ray is untargetable until all enemies have taken a turn or are defeated. So she's checking you for being a piece of shit with your tanks and going 3x defense, force protection with 4 bulk secondaries on every single mod. Got it. Now again, Ray is untargetable, which means she is going to be AoEable, but I think, again, as Luthien has kind of proved, if you're willing to do the due diligence and make sure that you can't just scam them out, yeah, good luck with that. Enemies with less than full health have minus 200% crit avoidance. Well, we're halfway to Enoch, boys. It's almost there. It's all the way. Whenever an enemy with less than 100% health recovers to full health, they dispel a boss on themselves. I'm gonna card first, and I'll have to think about it. While Ray is untargetable from this ability, first order allies can't be defeated. There's the clause. It's not other first order allies, so you literally couldn't even scam her out even if you tried, right? And also, suddenly we're in a weird spot where, like, actually, if you can remove Terminator, you can kind of... Huh. Like, first order officer is pinning a shot. Leia cooldown mechanics prevent CD reset? Yes. Did I see the last line of her first paragraph? Are you talking about this? Oh, this. No, apparently I did not. Nope, I skipped it. Whenever enemies defeated, all characters lose 11% centimeter and all first art allies get advantage for 2 turns. It's cute, but I think we need to think more practically. I mean, okay, the advantage reset is pretty impactful here because usually turns around 10 for first order, you do kind of feel a little bit spent. The advantage re-up is very nice. This, I mean, if you're in a position, like, offensively, this is easier to achieve than defensively. Defensively, I think options like pinning a shot. I'm trying to hit new tab. Pinning shot, execution technically does, but there's no fucking shot. Control F, all allies. If all allies are first order. That's on the special we haven't seen yet. Allies defeated by the enemy, that's not factional. This is factional. But factional double health. Wait. This is a new sentence. Is all of this first order? For whatever reason, I'm blanking on this right now. I'm fucking scrambled by all this stuff. Start of the encounter. Okay, yeah, that's a... Okay, if this applies to this, it's a little bit difficult to give up. It's a new sentence. I might just check the mechanics. Not one day, to be honest. Line 1 is condition 1, line 2 is condition 2, not condition 1. That's what I want to believe. Because if that's true, that, like... oh, boy. We'll have to see on that. Possible range check on that. Well, enemy is less than full health, they can't recover protection. That's... It feels like this character is kind of like fleshing out their first order identity a bit. Less than full health, they can't recover protection. Whenever first order allies inflicted with a debuff, they lose 1% centimeter. I was wondering. This is flavor from the SLK Cron, right? I was literally saying this shit is like... Some of this stuff just feels like strong enough that I would love to see it in a near future kit. I don't think it was the debuff, or the debuff was the conditional. I think it was something else, but I'll take it anyway. There'd be an innocent full stop. I'm not disagreeing, but I'm kind of just like on... I don't want to get too emotionally attached to the idea of plug and play and then have it like prove to be wrong. Yeah, okay. So we have anti-turn meter, anti-debuff as well. Really, really solidifying their position. Alright. Love it lineage. This is the one with the cooldown reset. Deals 3 damage to all enemies, split among them. Well. Yep. Ah, man. So there are fights, right? Like, you think about, like, SLK doing Lord Vader. You think about Leia as well. There are fights where SLK can kind of... Like, it's not like he struggles to close out. It just takes him a while that, like... You have to imagine that this is not going to be a 33 times offense ability. But numbers are solely the question here, right? This could easily become like 10,000 true damage split among 5 people type shit. So we're really just gonna have to see the numbers evolve here. If all allies are first order and there's any version of Kylo in the leader slot, Weird that they're leaving the door open to crew. I guess they just want it to be more viable for early game? Hypothetical early game people who don't have SLK but have crew? I don't know. If there's any crew in the leader slot, because you can't, like, it's Star Killer Coda, but you can't Star Killer because that has to be your first order. Kylo in the leader slot, shock all enemies for 1 turn. He is called to assist, then all other non-something FO allies gain stealth. Crew Ray Star Killer. It has all allies are first order. Star Killer is not first order. Although the condition is only for the shock, which, I mean, you lose the stealth, I guess, but it doesn't really bother me. If SLK is the ally in the leader slot, he gains 5 cypher per enemy and 100% defense for 1 turn. A bit of ramp. The defense also can help because a lot of strategies are content to just go straight for SLK. Anytime he reared his head on defense. Long Grenadier, shunt can't be dispelled or resisted. There's what I was looking for. It's still only 1 turn, which again can end a lot sooner than you think, but definitely what you want to see most of the time. Enemies defeated by this ability can't be revived. Again, pure Ray lead can simultaneously suck or terrify you. It's not that great when 5 are alive, and 3v3 it starts to get spicy. When 1's dead, it's a closer. Well, no, when 1's alive or 2 is alive, it's a closer. It's all a question of numbers. Remove 100% turn meter from all characters. So it's a Gideon reset with the premise that A, your SLK is faster than all the rest, assumedly, aside from a GL matchup. B, you get bulkier off of it. Interesting. Enemies with bonus protection, protection up, or shield up reduce their max health to max protection by 20% for the rest of the encounter. Okay, so you kind of have JKL attrition value. Interesting. If there's any version of Kylo in the allied leader slot, all first allies recover 50% of the protection and gain speed up. Aha! I was about to say, like, kind of one defining ability, or characteristic of this ability is how it kind of acts as a reset button for characters like Gideon now. That the TM reset also kind of remaxes the team. There you go. And also, hey, there you go, because Gideon also gives you a team advantage. In this case, it's a speed advantage. Okay, fair enough. Quick ability. Corrupted Reflection deals physical damage to all enemies, then attack target enemy again if there is a defeated enemy. Interesting. First, our allies gain retaliate and retribution for 2 turns. Dispellable. SLK is in the allied leader slot, he gains 10% ult charge. So, I mean, SLK's ult charge has always been, like, distinctly interested in characters that can AoE, so this is offering him up to 40%. By my count, I think. Alright, 6 plus 10. Devil's damage twice to target enemy. This attack ignores 50% protection. It's funny to talk about this because historically, when we talk about like Ben Solo, I've always said that there's 2 things when it comes to ignoring protection. Either it needs to come in like burst level quantities, or it needs to be a situation where you can kind of lock in your progress with like a heal block. And for the most part, it really didn't feel like it mattered all that often for Ben Solo. Until Balin released, and then suddenly it actually matters a lot. I think that's still probably true here. I guess... So what I think they're going for here, actually, is less about the protection ignore itself, and more kind of to play with this effect. When an enemy is less than full health, they can't recover protection. But there's sort of a... There's something going on there with that basic. I don't think it's about damage output or like trying to kill someone without protection. I think it's just to proc that type of effect. Enemy had full health and protection up at the start of the attack. Attack again. Max 3 attacks total. Wait. So it's kind of Canderous Claws. I mean, Canderous is technically checking for if they have protection left, but thinking of it as Canderous is kind of an easier way to internalize it, I think. On her turn, if she deals at least 3 instances of damage, target me is feared for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Okay. Has to be on turn, so turn 3 earliest threat. Ignore taunt, if I remember right, is on the team. So it can be a little bit spooky. Sure, basically. She's not the first. We got it with Luthen or Saw, I believe. But it could definitely be impactful. The trickier thing, though, is Saw Luthen has way more access to it because they automatically basic after every turn. This is more niche. This is, well, like, again, we're kind of the defense offense split right now. If you're playing her on offense, you have it as an option select. In defense, this is more like a, okay, we're winding down to the mid game, what do things look like situation. There's a few things happening here. We could just unmark shit that we don't need to see. JML, of course, one of the classicos. JMK, cringe. That's just... Do we even need to list GLs? I'm actually surprised to see that Reva is such a popular matchup. I would have thought it, but I really don't think SLKO defense that often, so... What are you gonna do, I guess. The one weird thing about this is it's not JKR or JKL anymore. It's JKR, JKL, JCal. And JCal is a shifty motherfucker that complicates things. Yeah, the majority of her power budget is special 2 plus her uniques. I'm a bit surprised there isn't more Retaliate production. Man, that is really, like, here and then gone. We'll have to see what her AI does. Whether it's programmed to go straight for malevolent lineage or not. I mean, it's immediate throwback to when Moff Gideon got revealed, and people thought it was going to be the reset turn 1, and then it turned out to be Armor Shred. Although in some ways, I think you could, obviously, there's a lot happening on this button. You wouldn't complain. Getting the Retaliate up early is potentially interesting. As well as trying to rush out the ultimate charge. Speed is obviously a media question for the character. Tenacity also comes to mind. But then at the same time, we're in this weird spot where, technically speaking, like what? She's worried about like AoE debuffs. But she can't be targeted. While Rey is on target from this ability, first our allies can't be defeated. So technically her bulk is not all that important. I mean, there's a world where, like, she tries to enable First Order to get greedier. And First Order Officer does do pinning shot first, but, like, there's no way you just go tankless, right? And we do kind of enjoy a crew automatically making the advantage, I would imagine. You know how much she stops JML? Well, that's like the core basic. If it doesn't stop JML, then the defense appeal goes right off the board, because JML doesn't really have a job right now. We're in a weird spot where this team actually kind of wants to be 6. I guess the other consideration, if we're talking tankless, is you still have to worry about incoming control. And you can't just, like, let them freely target. You just want to JK or lead jam on stack Jedi. Yeah, but you can't kill anyone until the last person goes. Is kind of the point. That's what she's trying to interact with, is saying nuke setups won't work as easily. I mean, JML doesn't have as much issue getting 5 people to go quickly to. I think I get the feeling that she's not going to use Malevolent Lineage first. All other non-taunting first order allies not in the leader slot. So if you went tankless, they would have to hit SLK and couldn't defeat him technically. But then the moment that the 5th person goes, it would also theoretically leave him out hanging to dry. But at the same time, 100% defense with the GL modifier does make a pretty big difference. It's tough to say. Like, obviously, the damage numbers are a big question mark right now. What was the clause on its turn? Just the protection drain. I really would have liked to have seen. Hey, I appreciate it. 5 months king losing. Thank you, man. It's tough to call. I think it might be interesting in DB3. Yeah, like here we're back on the usual more classic space. These types of beats. I mean, the biggest question mark is the taunt ignore more than anything for defensive purposes, but that did kind of happen already with FOSFTP. I didn't find it all that often to have a good memory of how SLK behaves with that taunt ignore. Like, I know JK is a priority target. Yeah, it's really hard to predict how this team is going to operate on defense with A, we don't know the damage numbers, B, we don't know AI priorities, C, don't know stats. It could go a few ways, really depending on her speed especially. And also, I have a massive fucking question for plug and playness. If it obeys the usual syntax rules, then she's actually decently plug and play, which means that SLK could problem solve drafts. Like you could reach for Malikos real fucking quick. I'm also certainly getting F tags in the next DC set. It would be 2 from now. It would make sense for them to give DC before she releases and she's 3 months out. Huh. The list of priority targets, or is it something you just figure out? It originally started as figuring out, but I think .gg offers it now. I believe this is the list. Buzz, Chewbacca, Gas, Thrawn, Yoda, Revan. And it's top to bottom too, so that's why that random Seanock team that I ran. Here you go. Chewbacca. I think I was using Malik. I think Malik is higher priority even though it's not listed here. Malik got nuked, and then Chewbacca got focused. And then Revan. That was Nihilus, or I don't remember entirely. Yeah, there's Revan. Armor Watt, 1000. I don't see 3 being on here, but it never really... I don't think the meta ever really had a reason for it to matter. What these other characters do. Yep, Gungan Shield Gen, recent edition. Interesting. Yeah, the toolset definitely lends itself more to offense play, but it's not useless on defense. It just really raises questions about what gets used. Tal's not prio. I'm pretty sure my Talzin always eats Jabba Mass Assist for at least the first one. T3 was GG Nuke issues? Yeah, but I don't remember GG Nuke playing GLs that often. Remember it on like Darth Revan. Okay. Let us... There's more that we could talk about with her, but again, we don't know the exacts, so I'm almost a little bit hesitant to speak on things that might be not true in the future. So that being said, then, I'm estimating everyone's seen this by now, or it seemed pretty good. I just want to make sure real quick. Is there actually enough on here to spend 30k a week? God, I've not done spreadsheets in a minute. Okay. Actually, I'll just put on tab. Okay, Bronzium. The thing is, I'm like close to okay on Bronzium as long as I keep hitting the Kyro node, but I haven't been hitting the fucking Kyro node in so long. Technically not. Electrium is 6,000. I should probably make it so I can see both at the same time. Probably. Micro Tenuers I'm probably going to default to. Thermal exchanger for sure. Processor probably, just because if you're getting good thermal, then your processor are going to get strained anyway, so... I still have the brain rot where every time that I hear this, I hear microprocessors said from The Departed in a Bostonian accent. Microprocesses. This is probably whatever. Omicron's 4800. Where does that put us now? We put Electriums at the bottom. That puts us at 25,800. Which is short. And that's including the Electriums. I mean, CCBs could be tacked on just for the hell of it, but I feel like the credit shipments usually cover those pretty effectively. I mean, we could do Kairos for the sake of, but the 2 or 3 sources that we have from stores right now haven't really left me wanting. Actually here, right? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know these parts by name, but I'm assuming this is the 60 stuff. Okay, yeah, so buy these as needed probably, and that puts us over. Okay, so yeah, this isn't a situation where you buy stuff that you aren't interested in. I was gonna say 60 extra. It actually puts you over technically. Like you can't buy all 3 of these and still have enough for the next week. It's kind of just buy as needed. Okay, and then yeah, Kairos as needed. Shards as needed. Omegas as needed. Wherever you're at in the game. Whatever is needed. The mod pricing is kinda... This feels like a lot. I don't know, unless it was just like a god mod that just like, oh my god, yes, this is like gonna hit no matter what. I don't really see myself using it here. Famous last words, but I would love to be proven wrong, to be honest. If it's like, oh man, I was so wrong. There are some good buys here. Sure, I'll trade off some 6E materials or whatever. Like, not everything on those lists is do or die, in my opinion. Right? It's like I could skip 4 Electrium quotas or whatever it was for some mod stuff, right? Yeah, that's 6,000. And functionally speaking, it's only Gear 12 parts that, like, we do have store sources, Shard Store and GET and ships and all that. Well, I don't think it's in ships. Ships has Gear 12, but I don't think it's scrappable, except the Bayos, but the Bayos are relocated. Yeah, no, I'm right, I think. Like, I need Electrium super badly, but again, if duty calls that, like, some good mods show, it's probably fine. Alright. And then... So I have looked at this, and it's pretty straightforward, and I think it's going to be very number dependent. It looks complicated, but I think it's actually not all that difficult to understand. Yeah, Hu Yang, he's pretty much a damage dealer. He's not really a damage support, I would even say. It's just that he establishes a rule set for the squad. He just, like, kind of helps them limit break a little bit. Let's see. This will be useful to have up. % defense and offense per stack. 1 unique at the start of battle. So they get 21% protection. Droids gain 34% crit damage, and Spectre allies gain 55% offense. 55% offense is obviously the clear winner. Let's say droid allies as well. Critical damage. Hu Yang is an attacker. And this clause includes himself. So he's giving himself crit damage and offense off rip. There's big questions surrounding this character, Ahsoka utility versus sortie potential. Because sortie kind of famously has always kind of lacked an effective damage dealer. You know, you give the right character the right numbers in the wrong place, and who knows what could happen. And again, he does set himself up in that way. So depending on what the final number tally is for him, it raises some questions worth answering. The ally in the leader slot is, like they say, Spectre plus GL. The ally in the lead slot is Ahsoka. Ally Jedi, any Ahsoka, and Padawans to be gain Jedi lessons for 3 turns at the start of their first turn. So what does this mean, actually? Like, the literal... Like, I know it's JML shit, but... The buff itself... Yeah, it's mastery per stack. Like we think of lessons as inherited teachings, but it's not. We just say lessons because it makes life easier. So effectively... If they had lessons whenever Huyang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, the duration is reset to 3 turns. But the fact that it's dispellable is like, okay, so you're just going to lose this shit immediately. And then it's just gone forever? Is like... I don't remember if lesson shows up anywhere else in the kit. I mean, it's possible Ahsoka gives them that as well. Right. Yeah, it could easily be that the source comes from Ahsoka as well. So you gain lessons for 3 turns at the start of their first turn, and if you happen to have it whenever you progress your quests, durations resets at 3. Kind of goofy. It's basically saying you get starting mastery and then some potential mastery. Pretty much. If a light side ally evades an attack or resists a debuff, light side droids gain 5% critical damage on offense until the end of battle. This is kind of turning Ezra into a battery. I don't know if the rest of the faction is going to have that much evading at all. I do imagine that a lot of them are probably going to have pretty good tenacity, although I don't think that's true for... What am I here? She is like 40%, right? Yeah. So I was a little bit incorrect in my prediction that the Spectre faction as a whole would be tenacious. Not to say that Ezra can't help juice that along the way, at least, whenever everyone gains exile. But yeah, it's probably going to be a lot of Ezra doing some peeling, doing some dodging, if he's not stun locked, which he will be for the near future. Resisting debuffs, giving Huyang a little bit of damage amp. And to be clear, this could stack up real quick if you're not careful. There's a lot of potential debuffs flying around, and the character very quickly reaches 200% tenacity, so... Godspeed. The first time that an ally Spectre loses exile, he gains History of the Galaxy Part 1. But this is kind of the weird thing, that if we're kind of building the idea of what Ahsoka plays like, as we've already kind of seen in GAC so far, if you are able to keep Ezra locked down, you can prevent him from getting exile just because he can't play the video game. And so he has this History of the Galaxy quest, and it's not only locked to Ezra, it's only currently locked to Ezra because we don't see Ahsoka's kit. But depending on the rest of the rule set for the rest of the team, if we're just talking Ezra's current existence, the quest is deniable. Like, if you just stop Ezra from playing the video game, which he does tend to taunt, and he does not have anything like stun resistance or ability block resistance, it raises some question marks, let's say. Whatever, The first time that a Spectre ally loses exile, gains History of the Galaxy Part 1. Whenever Huyang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, Spectres gain 50% bonus protection for 2 turns. Whenever he gains Part 3, we're set to cooldown and stay together. When he has History of the Galaxy Part 1, the game Force Connection with the use of basic abilities so the first time Huyang is defeated. Whenever a second ally Spectre loses exile for the first time, this ability upgrades to Part 2. So this is basically a confirmation that I was right, that I think Ahsoka, I don't know if it's going to be like exile everybody in the game, but that I think you look at Ezra's unique and it's clear communication that I think exile is going to be flying around all over the place on allies and enemies. Would not shock me. So yeah, second time you lose exile, you progress a quest to Part 2. It's not quite Illuminated Destiny, but it's kind of that sort of flavor here of you're just trying to work a quest over the course of the game. We have Part 2. Remove the max stack limit whenever ally... I keep on reading that it's any. Ally, Jedi, any Ahsoka Tano, and Padawan Sabine Wren gain Force Connection. You can go best 10. You know, normally you're capped at 20% defense and offense. This gives it more capabilities. You kind of have to assume that there might be a lot of assist clauses flying around. Obviously, Ezra provides it. But, like, Ezra could be generating a lot of Force Connection. We'll have to see if more comes from Sabine, or they're kind of relying on Ezra to be the person making it happen. But yeah, okay. So Force Connection uncaps. I don't think it can be dispelled, I want to say. Yeah, it can't be copied, dispelled, prevented. It's just... you keep what you make. It's basically ancestral. If there are 5 Spectre allies at the start of battle and there are no allies with exile, this ability upgrades to History of the Galaxy Part 3. So basically, I guess you try to get exile off of Ezra before... I mean, I don't know, but I assume you alter some shit. We'll see. Both teams get entirely exiled would be spicy, but we'll see. While Huyang has History of the Galaxy Part 3, Ally Jedi, Eddie Ahsoka Tano, and Padawan Sabine Wren gain Force Connection with their use an ability until the first time Huyang is defeated. So we're in this weird spot right now where Huyang, his kit screams attacker to me, but they really seem to want you to keep Huyang alive. So we'll see how the stats line up. I mean, so far Sabine's kind of an attacker as well, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe Ahsoka Tano's going to be a tank? I don't know. It's difficult to predict. This quest is also only able to be completed in 5v5. Technically true, but they might just adapt over 3v3. They said she's a tank, did they? I must have missed that shit. Alright. Special 2, stay together. Call all light side allies to assist. Then, if there are 2 or more light side droid or Spectre allies, strongest ally and weakest ally gain advantage, damage immunity, and offense up for 1 turn and tenacity for 3 turns. Preventable, dispellable when it comes to damage immunity, but damage immunity at the wrong time in the right place can still mess you up. So, you kind of hope to see a dispel before an effect like that, just to try to get you some insurance, but you can't have everything. Otherwise, light side droid and Spectre allies recover 100% health and protection. Is this clause basically just saying, like, last stand mode? Heal everyone? If either the strongest or weakest other ally has exile, they gain 75 speed for 1 turn instead. So goofy because I associate Ezra with bulk right now. Interesting. We'll have to keep that in mind. Like, again, really can't judge this until we see Ahsoka's kit. TB Omicron, I don't really recommend Omicron in TB. I mean, as we're getting more Omicron income from the assault battles or whatever, maybe it'll change. But yeah, right now we don't get enough for it to be a considerable thing unless you're just kind of casual for running. Deal physical damage to target enemy and Spectre allies, gain speed up for 1 turn. Deal additional instance of damage for each other light side droid ally or ally with Exile to start a battle. Well, then a 3? Could on a 3 depending on however Old Charge lines up. It could be like not doing that much to start and then becomes like an insane ability when Ahsoka ults. But yeah, in the sorting squad, obviously, this could very much just be like a turn 1 nuke, given the right amount of setup. The team has plenty of dispel, so unless it's a sticky taunt, you will have access to whoever you hope to delete. This ability gains 10% damage per active Spectre ally. It's niche, but there's a world where you could imagine, like, maybe Chopper gives you some boost over the top. Inflict a stack of off-balance to target enemy for 1 turn for each ally that is removed to exile this battle, which can be copied or evaded. Again, this kind of feels to me like you imagine that there will be a ult that applies exile on everyone that stacks up to 50%, or no, up to 5 stacks. But time will tell. But yeah, I mean, we don't really get access to nuker numbers day 1, or any damage numbers day 1, but you would imagine that this could be the nuke that does it all. If it's not as well, it could mean that the mass assist becomes more preferable for like light side droid squads. Oh, they don't have to be light side droid squads. Physical damage to target mean expose them for 1 turn. If it's Hu Yang's turn, the target had stagger, stun them for 1 turn as well. And because Hu Yang calls everyone, including himself, to assist, he will use this basic off of that. The stagger to stun kind of flavors of like Zeb. And yeah, the expose, depending on it's not a hard set roll, but the fact that he's melee means that he might land later than ranged attackers a lot of the time proves to be true. But it's possible that like slot placement that you put on front row and have someone ranged back row could let you catch in the exposed same turn of the mass. But he does this animation while everyone attacks that it might set him too late. I like how they put Ezra here with Exile, so you can't actually see that he's assisting. Or that it's a mass assist. Oh well. It doesn't technically have to be light side droid only, but the light side droid section is kind of limited. Like, there's a few flavors you can go of, like... I mean, T3 you assume is kind of core. You really do need some sort of dispel option, which usually means I think you have to go dark side. And T3 Smokescreen has it, but like that only really works against traditional taunts where you kind of need IP to force the issue if possible. But yeah, like because we have a mass assist, you have some options for like you run BB-8 plus R2 plus Chupio, and you have like a decent number of attacks off of that. C3PO as well, you can chuck in for more exposes if that helps put you over the top of some non-percent health resistant character. Chopper gives you the damage boost, but I really don't associate him with the team. He does give you a dispel, I guess. Yeah, I like the whole assists basic bonus is adorable, but I don't really see it being worthwhile. What's his damage? I assume it's... Yeah, he's got 5k and 4,300 offense with a less than 10% ratio. Yeah, Funny joke. Unfortunately, IG-11 only does the multi-assist off of counterattacks. He's like Gar Saxon. Otherwise, I would have said he's incredibly funny here with the mass. Yeah, I don't think it really changes the makeup of the droid faction. It's more so just, okay, is this the one to get it done? Lobot helps ramp. I don't really hold Lobot in that high of a regard. Like, he's okay. It's a lot of words that don't chalk up to much. He spams force it. Yeah, I don't, unless I'm blanking on a Huyang clause. Nope. Foresight not mentioned. The thing I need let's say droids to do is not make foresight. The thing I need to win them, the thing I need them to do is win the match by turn 5, because they're not a real team past that point. And that's not going to change. Look up evade. What, just the dodge clause? This doesn't change. Like, this only ever possibly works if you're doing like T3 or characters like that doing an AoE as a part of the setup. Then maybe they counterattack into foresight and it boosts your damage numbers slightly. But like, it's not really pushing much from it. Hey, I appreciate the primal. 9 months in a row. I have no idea how you remember to do it. Like, you're not wrong that it's value, but like, in the history of this game, light side droids have never been like a knockdown drag out fight, unless we're talking like a character like Wampa. And that's like, if we're having conversations about this team on defense, I think we're already outside the bounds of it being real. I mean, like, it's a banner tax, and maybe this makes their tax more taxing. Yeah, I mean, we could say the same thing if it's a question of which ability gets used first. And then what the implication is for you being on defense with either of those options. Right, I mean, you would imagine that, like, if this ability does a lot of damage, that if he just immediately goes for it with Wampa, then it's just a decent shot at immediately nuking them out. But I thought Sortie had already, like, kind of graduated past Wampa with Lobot release or somewhere around that time. One last detail. This is just the spare part re-up. Yeah, it gives you like a 25% offense boost. Bad Batch is the real predator, though. Yeah, because all you do is run Bad Batch the Shakti, right? And her reactivity goes over the top. If I remember right. It's not a team that I fight often. I mean, you kind of look at like, okay, Swordy Kron with this, with Hu Yang is maybe kind of some. I'm still like, Hu Yang just seems very built towards Ahsoka. But again, like, I mean, BT1 looked like a kind of middle of the road character until you saw the numbers, then you said, oh, I get it now. And even then, when BT1 came out and the question was Sortie Nuke, that damage was not high enough to nuke premier teams back then. So, like, you know the history of everything that's going on. I mean, Lightside droids have just never really been over the top in terms of being a real squad. Outside of, like, Datacron support. I'll be honest, I think the game's a little bit healthier if that stays true. Because otherwise they would just be, yeah, touch of death. I kill you before you ever take a turn type shit. We'll have to see. I mean, depending on how absurd the damage numbers are, it's entirely possible that you don't even have to do the whole setup rigmarole. You just do a fast Hu Yang. You get your free stats. Then you just go punch him in the face. We'll have to see. But yeah. Interesting week, to be sure. And I guess it's all hitting in 2 business days' time. I think I like this new flow, assuming that we're going to continue to get kits on Friday. Because the whole assumption is the marquee event is out on Tuesday, so the update has to be Monday. So that either means we would get the kit the same day as the update, or they just give the kit Friday to kind of keep the pattern the same. And yeah, Friday kit seems cool. I'm going to enjoy it. But yeah, I think I'm out of here. Y'all enjoy your weekends. I will be back tomorrow for Grid Arena, I guess. Have I been attacked? The real question. No. Alright. Well, then I'm out of here. Peace.